Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Tiksu to UniTartu. My name is Vincent and I'm an international student from the United States studying a Bachelor's of Business Administration here at the University of Tartu. I'll be your host and guide to Tiksu to UniTartu across the next episodes. For the uninitiated, Tiksu is our beloved mascot here at the University of Tartu, and it's also an Estonian term meaning to chill or hang out. So, welcome, and we hope you enjoy as we Tiksu to UniTartu. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing why we came to the University of Tartu and a little bit more about our degrees. I'm joined here by Kateryna, an international student from Ukraine. Kateryna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi, thank you for having me on the podcast. My name is Kateryna. I come from Ukraine originally, and I am indeed a PhD student at the University of Tartu these days, but I also completed a master's degree 3 years ago, and I'm excited to talk about my experiences.
Great. So what we like to usually ask people is how they found the university and how they first found out about Estonia.
I think those are two different questions for me, how I found out about Estonia, how I found out about the university. Estonia was a long time ago, I don't remember how, but the university is a separate story. So when I was finishing my bachelor's degree back in Ukraine, I already was convinced that I want to do a master's degree abroad. And my best friend was also looking into the options to study abroad, so we started doing it together. And we had a Google sheet which was called Make Europe Great Again or something like that, because we had already decided that we would like to do our master's degree in Europe. So we were pretty much Googling all the possible universities, programs, funding options and things like that. And I don't think Tartu was on the list from the Googling process. I think I heard about Tartu from a friend who was already studying there at the time. He was a friend of mine from my bachelor's university, and he had gone to Tartu a year prior to do his master's.
When you were kind of researching your university choices, did you look at places in Tallinn or all over Estonia, or did you kind of focus in straight to Tartu?
So I focused straight on Tartu just because I heard about it from the friend, but I actually also had another friend who was studying masters at Taltech at the time. I think we also looked into Taltech. Well, my best friend and I had different ideas for what we wanted to study, and I think Taltech had more options for her because she was more interested in like computer science and things like that. I mean, we also have computer science at the University of Tartu, but just there were more options there. But for myself, I didn't find anything that was sparking my interest that much. Whereas in the University of Tartu, there was this program, Innovation and Technology Management, and pretty much the first time I read about it, I was like, yep, that sounds like something I could do. It sounds like it fits my choices. So I think I discarded Taltech pretty much at the beginning and just focused on the University of Tartu.
Okay. And why in the first place did you decide to study abroad instead of kind of staying around your hometown?
I was on an exchange semester during my bachelor studies. I did Erasmus in Croatia, and I think pretty much after the first 2 months of being there, I was like, this is awesome, this international community, having so many people around you from around the world, and these connections, and studying in English even. I really liked that experience, and I think pretty much back then already I decided that I would like to have more of this. So I thought that if I go for a master's degree, then, you know, it's at least 2 years on average of this experience. So that was the trigger, I would say. And that was my 5th semester when I was on exchange, and I had 3 more to do at home. But after I came home, I already started thinking about the options and collecting some data about the university.
Yeah. Can you maybe talk to me about your process of your application and how you felt once you actually received your acceptance letter to the University of Tartu?
The application process was quite easy. I should actually mention here that I applied to different universities and to different programs that weren't even in one university. It was like a program, a joint program between 3 different universities, and they all had different application processes. And the one in Tartu felt really easy. after the ones that I had completed before, because there was this system, I don't remember how, Dream Apply, is that the name, I think?
Yeah.
And then like when I opened it for the first time, I was like, oh, this is so clear. There is a list of things that I have to collect, and it felt really clear.
Yeah.
So I think it was really easy. I think for me the biggest problem honestly was that I had to translate the grades from my university, and I had to do it on my own and then like get it signed by the people at the faculty. The rest was really, really easy, and we could apply for 2 programs, I think in the same university, with 1 application. So I applied for innovation and technology management and for software engineering. And then I was waiting for a couple of months. I think I applied somewhere at the beginning of March, and in the middle of April or end of April, I received responses from both of them, and I had to choose one. And I think beginning of May or maybe middle of May, I already got my acceptance letter. I don't remember how I felt, to be honest. I do remember I called my mom right away, and she was happy. I think for me, it felt more like another door opening in a way, and I felt like I was going into the unknown, but I was quite excited about it.
Yeah, I guess I felt like very similar, as I was applying to a bachelor's program, so it was a little bit different with the application. Like I sent in all my high school stuff, and having been in the military, I was in the military for 5 years prior to coming to college. It was a little hard for me to dig up all my old documents, and definitely because I wasn't in the United States at the time. But, I applied, and everything was very straightforward, very easy. And I just wrote up a nice, application letter and got all my documents together, and it was just really straightforward. And I remember how I felt when I got my application letter, because college wasn't always like my first choice. Since after high school, I went right into the military. And I remember, me and my other colleagues, the other Marines I was with, we were all like, oh, Arad, I got into college. We're having a party tonight. So, it was definitely a jubilant experience for me.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, my best friend and I, we got the acceptance letters at the same time. She eventually came to study here as well, in a different program though. And I think the 2 of us at least had some celebration. It's just, it collided with a time when both of us were defending our bachelor's thesis, and so that period is a blur in my head. So I think that's why.
So when you first did come to Estonia, what was your first perceptions of just the city and maybe Tartu in specific?
I was a bit scared about coming to Tartu, and why? Not for your usual reasons like, oh, the winter is very long and cold or something like that. I was scared because I grew up in a city that has 300,000 people, and then I moved to do my bachelor's degree in a city that has 4 million people. So when I heard about Tartu having a population of something like 90,000, I imagined like a small town, a village almost in Ukrainian proportions. 90,000 people in a town is not that much.
Yeah.
So I was scared that I would feel like bored, more or less, that there wouldn't be anything to do, or that the city would feel too small.
There's the one grocery store, the one shop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was pretty much what I imagined about Tartu. So that was a bit of a challenge for me. And then I arrived on the 1st of September. I still remember this day. I arrived on the 1st of September 2019, and it was a super sunny day. It was so warm. I had heard about from people that the end of August was a bit chilly, but then the sun came back again. It was sunny and warm, and when the bus was going on the street near the main square, I saw the main square was full of people. People were sitting on the summer terraces of the cafes, and there were so many kids and students just walking around in the park, and I was like, this is different from what I had imagined, to be honest. So I think I had these like really low expectations, and already on the first day, on my first drive to the bus station, I was like, I think I was wrong.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear that it exceeded your expectations.
Yeah, definitely.
So to say. Yeah, for me, I had already been living in Estonia prior as part of my military service, and I hadn't been to Tartu before. When I arrived here, I was like, okay, this is much more quaint. It's much more quiet. It's I came during winter, so maybe not the same experience that you had. But it was much more quaint and quiet for me, and I really enjoyed that compared to kind of the hustle and bustle of Tallinn. But the University of Tartu does have different, programs that take place in different places like Tallinn and Narva and Pärnu. But majority Tartu.
Yeah, that was the same for me. We also had classes in the first semester in the two neighboring buildings in Tartu. And then Corona hit, so we had classes online. But after that, our faculties were moved into this new fancy building that we have. So in my third semester, I had a couple of classes in this new building, which was really close to the dorm. So that felt like really awesome. And the building is awesome.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit, can you maybe tell me a little bit about your program and how your master's program was?
Yeah, definitely. So my program is Innovation and Technology Management, and it's a combination of IT and business courses, I would say. The program is even divided between the Institute of Computer Science and the School of Economics and Business Administration. And there are about 30 credits for a module called Digital Business Analysis, which is part of the Institute of Computer Science, and about 30 credits for Innovation Management, which is taught by the School of Economics and Business Administration. And I would say it's quite well balanced because of that, because you have pretty much an equal amount of courses in the one topic and in the other topic. Although some people with a, let's say, rather business or economics background may struggle with some computer science courses, or the other way around, people like me, because I have a bachelor's in computer science. So the first time I had a course called Innovation Management or Innovation Policy or something like that, I felt really lost. So it might be a bit of a struggle in this regard, but I think the program is designed to be interdisciplinary. So if you are interested in having this interdisciplinary education, then it's for you, and then you will find your way around eventually, because the courses they don't require the deep knowledge, for example, of programming if they are courses from computer science. They are meant to help you understand these two sides of innovation and technology management. And then the choice where to write a thesis lies with the student. So after you had courses from the Institute of Computer Science and from the School of Economics and Business Administration, you can decide if you want to go in the one direction or in the other direction. So that's really nice, because you can kind of choose for yourself what you want to do. And I think I didn't have many expectations about the program because when I read the description of the courses, most of them sounded new to me, nothing like I had done before. But the program exceeded my expectations as much as Tartu did.
Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, with my program, I had a little bit of a difficulty kind of getting into it as well. You said you had experience kind of in the technology and information and technology prior, but for me, jumping into a business degree and not having done math for 5 years, and then I come and a lot of it just gets blasted at you with some algebra and stuff like that, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot for me.
I can relate to that, because one of the first courses that we had was called econometrics, and in order to take that course, we had a crash course introduction to econometric analysis or something like that, like first 3 weeks of September. So my first 3 weeks of classes were pretty much that, and we also had a lot of math, a lot of numbers in there. And I was like, oh my god, where am I? But then, it actually eventually was really interesting, and I really enjoyed that course. It's just at the beginning it felt really scary.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely leaned on other students and as well, just to kind of help me get up to where I need to be on my math level. And the professors were also very willing to help you if you do ask for help. So I wanted to ask you, besides your studies, what else have you gotten up to in terms of student organizations, clubs, things like that in Tartu?
Yeah, I did many things, and I think I would have done more if not for Corona, because Corona hit in my second semester, so everything was taken online, and we still tried to have different events online, and some of them worked out pretty nicely. But just when I came to Tartu, I heard about international student ambassadors, and they had an application period open right when I came. It's a student organization at the university where the international students are invited to apply, and then this group of international students are helping the other prospective international students, so with different kinds of events, and we have a blog and things like that. So I applied to the ISA at the beginning, and I stayed with them for 2 years, and that was amazing. I really loved that experience, and especially at the beginning when we were seeing each other face to face and having all kinds of events offline. There was a really great bunch of people. I was also a host at 15 by 4 Tartu. It was, unfortunately, an organization where we gathered to have popular science talks, 15 minutes each, so 4 presentations of 15 minutes each. That's why it's called 15 by 4. So I was a host there, and we managed to have 2 or 3 offline events before Corona, and then it was taken online as well. And so I think those were my most remarkable experiences, and I think I would have done more if not for Corona, but that was also great.
Yes. I mean, I'm also International Student Ambassador. I think it's a great program here, and I think it's one of the things that I've gotten onto that's really helped me appreciate a lot of the Estonian culture. I think it's like great because we get to go out and do different cultural events and whatnot.
That's true. One of the first events that we had, well, one of the only events that we had face-to-face was an evening at the sauna. And I think for a lot of us, it was the first time going to the sauna.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was really fun. And I think the most fun part about that was that the sauna was located in one of the study buildings. And we were like, what? The sauna in the study building? And that was before we learned that there are saunas everywhere.
Yeah, so. I guess that is a very Estonian thing, having the sauna in the study building. I also, when I first did it, we actually went out to kind of the middle of nowhere, and we had a little cabin, and we had the sauna there, and then we jumped into the frozen lake. So that was another good Estonian experience, I suppose. I wanted to ask you also, what can you say to somebody that's thinking about coming to the University as Tartu, but they're not sure, they've got a few options?
I think my only phrase to that person would be, do it. Don't hesitate, do it. Because I've continued being an ambassador for the University of Tartu even long after I left the organization. I mean, that's why I'm here. But so I still kind of do this ambassadoring for Tartu. I share the word about the University of Tartu any chance I get. And so it's pretty much the only thing I can really say, just do it. And I've heard from many people that the University of Tartu has been one of the best experiences of their life. And I can definitely say for myself that my life has gotten better in all regards, in every single aspect since I came to the University of Tartu, and I will be always grateful for it. So I think it's an amazing experience, and I definitely encourage everyone to do it.
Yeah, I definitely second that, and I would say it's also great just in terms of the location. You're able to kind of branch out and go to different places, not just the quality of the study, but you're able to kind of explore and more of Europe, I guess, if you so are inclined to.
Yeah, coming back to what I said at the beginning about being scared about the city being so small and nothing to do, after being here, I learned that there are so many things to do, like starting from the student organizations and traveling, as you said, or there are, even these days, right now, there are these Tartu student days happening with all kinds of events. So I think if anyone is like me and they're being scared of being bored here, you shouldn't be there. You won't be bored, that's for sure. Yeah,
there's definitely a lot to do here, and I see people from different countries bringing their own hobbies and talents, and there's different dancing clubs. I saw even a cricket club, which is kind of a unique thing to find in Estonia. So it's good that we have all this different kind of melting pot, I guess you could say, coming into the city, because it's a very international city. And I think there's a statistic that like 1 in 3 people living in Tartu is either working at the university or they're a student at the university. So it's definitely a very student-centric place. So I wanted to ask you, having lived in Estonia and been studying here for such a long time, what is the perception of your family and friends? Like, what do they think about Estonia, and have they come to visit you here?
I think if I ask them for one adjective, they would all say far. I think that's one shared perception that they have, is that it's far, because my family lives in Ukraine. I have friends spread all over Europe, but most of them are in the west parts of Europe, so in Switzerland or in Portugal. And so whenever I talk to my friends from Switzerland or Portugal about coming to visit me in Estonia, they're like, nah, it's so far. So in my master's time, I actually had my parents come visit me once in the second month, and that was because I bought flight tickets for them, and I was like, "You're coming," and then that was it. Actually, well, after that was Corona, so it was a bit complicated. And then when I went into my PhD right after my master's, I started advocating for it more and more, and then finally 2 more friends came to me. So already in my PhD time, but it was also just for the weekend. But lately, actually, in the past couple of months, there has been more interest in coming to visit Estonia. I don't know why, but I already had 1 friend over in October. I have 1 over right now. 2 more are coming in June. So, well, I have to say, I think it's a good time to visit Estonia in summer, so maybe that's why they don't like to come, because a lot of people say like, oh, it's so far and it's so cold, and I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, I think I get similar responses, definitely from America. It's definitely far, but I think the first response is, what is Estonia?
Yeah.
And what do they speak there? That was the first thing I asked. It's like, well, this is a country here, you have to pull up a map for them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then, yes, they speak Estonian, and then, there's like, what does that sound like? How is that a thing? But yeah, it's definitely, it was an unknown place to me before I came here, but they told me that I was coming here for the military, and I had to Google, like, they said Tallinn, Estonia, and I ended up Googling what it was, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can deal with this, seeing the pictures of the old town and whatnot, but definitely coming to University of Tartu, it's been very refreshing, as Tartu's definitely a different style of city, for sure.
I think 2 other adjectives that my friends and family would choose are, well, cold, we already discussed that, and I think digitally advanced would be another one.
Mm-hmm.
I know that all of my friends and family, well, either from me or just from the news, they know about all the digital advances in this country. And I think these days when I tell them something like, oh, I went to the doctor and they prescribed me medicine, and then I came to the pharmacy and I used my ID card for the prescription, they would be like, yeah, sure, expectable. What else can you tell us? That's, we expect that from Estonia. So
one of the first things I had seen was an article about Wi-Fi in the forests, which is kind of unheard of if you're going to a forest preserve in the States. But other things as well, as like when I tell them, like how much a doctor's visit costs, it's just it's very surprising to having like people react differently, because a doctor's visit in the States, if you don't have insurance especially, or good insurance, is a lot pricier than spending maybe like 30-40 euros here for, like, even if you're uninsured. So it's definitely different. So we're kind of running out of time here. We're coming down a little bit. I wanted to ask, do you have any fun student traditions that belong to the University of Tartu that you maybe want to tell to somebody coming here?
I can think of a few. One is, maybe I shouldn't be sharing it because it's kind of dangerous, but there is this bridge that goes from the student dorms, for most of the student dorms, to the city center, and it's shaped in the form of an arch. So I've heard about people crossing that bridge on the arch, literally, and I think most of them have been students. Another one is, I don't know if it's a tradition. There are Tartu Student Days, they are called, where I think it's different student organizations that come together and organize all kinds of events for the students. And I think it always starts with the first day where they have pancakes buffet on the main square. So you just, go to the main square in the morning and just grab some pancakes for free, I think. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, definitely.
And another one that is, I don't know also if it's so much of a tradition or just something that people do, and slowly turning into a tradition. There is this bar in the city center, which is called Mökku. And a lot of people go there, especially international students, and there is an experience there.
You're bound to meet somebody there from multiple different countries, and but I've also heard about the bridge crossing. I think maybe it became a tradition because going between different faculties, everybody kind of has to cross that bridge, and I'm sure it's crossed everybody's mind when they're looking up at the arch. That I think I might walk over that, but I think that's more of a, not advised, but like a 3 a.m. activity.
Yeah, I think it's not for everyone, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
But maybe eating pancakes on the main square is a bit more average.
That's a better
general
tradition. Yeah, I think I like that one better. But thank you so much for joining me today. I think that's all the time we have. Is there anything else you'd like to say in closing?
I think I would just like to reiterate what I said before. If you are listening to this podcast thinking about, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I come to study to the University of Tartu or not? I say to you, you should, and we are waiting for you here in Tartu.
Definitely. So thank you so much for being here, and this has been the first episode of Tiksu to UniTartu. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of Tiksu to UniTartu. We hope you had a chill time with us. Make sure to follow the University of Tartu social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, X, and LinkedIn. And if you have any questions for us about the podcast or topics you'd like us to cover in the future, then let us know. And this has been Tiksu to UniTartu.